Welcome to What's Trending with Tire Review, presented by AAPEX. I'm Maddie Weiner, and on today's podcast, we're joined by Brian Maciak, President and Chief Operating Officer of Big O Tires. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Maddie.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you. I know Big O has really experienced a lot of growth recently. I know you guys opened 10 new stores in Q1 of 2023, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm curious, what do you guys credit from your perspective for this really rapid growth from the franchise?
Yeah, you bet. So, in 2021, we had opened 12 new shops, and we were happy with that. In 2022, we opened 15. So you look at that and you say 27 stores over 2 years. That is really, really good growth. But we think the brand is just absolutely fantastic and deserving of even greater growth. So we have aggressive targets. We have aggressive plans, and it's starting to really bear fruit because, as you said, this first quarter of 23, we've already opened 10 new locations, and I credit it largely to some pretty diligent planning. I had a vision for pretty monumental growth, and my leadership team is absolutely behind it. So we take no pride of authorship. We come up with a plan of how are we going to grow? Where are we going to grow? What are our long-term aspirations here? And then we take a step back and figure out, okay, well, in order to reach that, what do we need? And we found that we had some deficiencies that we needed to shore up. And we found a heck of a lot of tremendous things that are going to allow us to accelerate even the strong growth plans that we had. So largely, our growth strategy or growth plan consists of making sure that we have the right tools, the right resources for franchisees to succeed. We're very cautious here to say we don't want to just open rooftops, but we need them to be profitable and we need them to exceed even their own expectations. So we looked at our tools, we looked at our resources, we made sure that we have strong partnerships with whomever we're going to marry, and we make sure that each of our franchisees and the support team are firm believers in our mantra, which is the team you trust. We want our franchisees to never question why they're paying royalties, right?
Right.
We want them to know what we're doing to help them be more profitable. And when you have all of that, the recipe together, you're going to have a very, very healthy marriage. And I think we have that. And that's why we're starting to really walk into the fruits of our labor. I'm not exactly telling you, Maddie, that we're going to have 40 new stores this year. I don't know if we're going to have each quarter, we're going to have, 10 new stores, but it's going to be bigger than it was the year before. And I'm excited to see what it brings.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. And it seems like, when you talk about growth, it has to be mutually beneficial for not only the franchisee, but also you all at Big O,
You
to
bet.
really agree on the way forward, so to speak.
You're exactly right.
Very cool, very cool. So I know we were at Big O's dealer conference last year and talked to you there, and we found out that Big O is looking to expand eastward. So I know you all have recently added locations in Indiana, but can you maybe go into some of the markets or cities that you all are targeting for growth?
Yeah. So, I'll probably maybe not get so specific, but I can speak more about our growth, strategy. Maybe,
Okay.
tell you, maybe just a little bit of, where and with whom and how we're
Yeah.
going to get there. So we're trying to rely pretty heavily on analytics. And we have some pretty good tools that will help us say, where are we going to be the most successful? So focusing on the where, again, without saying specific markets, I would say this. We're probably going to focus, at least initially, on the markets that we currently exist. We've identified more than a handful that could use more Big O's. There's not saturation out there. And so we're probably going to start there. And then our next step is going to be adjacent markets to where we currently are. and grow from there. And it's largely because they may have the same customer base. And if we go into a brand new market on the East Coast, we've got to let the customers know who Big O is, and that takes time and that takes money,
Right.
and so we're going to start, crawl before we run. But then after we sort of saturate those adjacent markets, we are going to look at new markets. And we are going to take that plunge. What I said at the convention about moving eastward is absolutely, the truth. But I would be lying if I said, hey, tomorrow we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're probably going
Right.
to, inch our way there, but we're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
We're also trying, Maddie, to make sure that as we grow, it's aligned to our tire distribution system. So, we have arguably under TBC's leadership, we have National Tire and Wholesale, which is,
Right.
again, arguably the best tire distributor. And that is a big leverage point for our franchisees to be able to get the tires that they want through the TBC network.
For sure.
So that's really our three stages of where we're going to grow. The who, we're going to grow with our current franchisees for sure. We're going to focus on some conversions, and then we're going to look at some new franchisees because we know that will be that'll be a new infusion into our bloodstream. And in terms of how, we'll have brownfield and we'll have greenfield for sure. I
Okay.
do think there'll be acquisitions, Maddie, for Big O. I just
Yeah.
don't probably not in 23, but soon enough.
Hey, that's exciting and definitely shows growth. And yeah, so what you're saying is, not necessarily, we're not going to get to the East Coast right away, but gradually build outward from your existing markets that are maybe more West Coast, Midwest areas. So makes sense.
I think that's right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of going off of that, you mentioned, you don't just want to open a Big O's or a Big O tires location where there's really no, I guess, brand awareness, if you will.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mm-hmm.
Which makes total sense. But in the new areas that you all are, looking to grow, sort of adjacent to the areas where there are Big O tires locations. What are some of the things you guys are doing to bring that, brand awareness to a new consumer base? Can you maybe go into some of the things you guys are working on there?
You bet. So it is largely centered around digital transformation.
Okay.
We have linked arms with a third party company to help us in this endeavor. We have plenty of resources internally that could help us, but we think a third party perspective that can really connect with the customers. We want to know at the end of the day, we want to, here's my vision. I want to know how our customers are going to expect to have their car serviced in 5 years, in 10 years. It was different 10 years ago. It's going to be different in 10 years from now.
Right.
I'm just not smart enough to know what that is going to be. I don't have that crystal ball. So we're linking arms with a whole bunch of subject matter experts to try and sketch that out. But here's where I am passionate about, and the whole team is passionate about, is however the customers are going to want to be serviced in the next 5 or 10 years, I want to be that service provider. Mm-hmm. So we want to learn now through digitally how they want us to communicate with them, how they want us to roll out our programs, how do they want us to connect, how frequently do they want us to connect, and we're building a new plan. We're building a new footprint, and we are completely redoing what the customer journey is going to look like. At the end of the day, the one thing that we want to maintain, steady is we want to have the tattoo of Big O, the team you trust, emblazoned on all of our franchisees, all of our employees, and then hopefully our customers. And if we do that successfully, I don't think we're going to have a problem making this a national brand.
Yeah, very cool. Very, very interesting. And, you were mentioning kind of providing a more digital experience for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was the consumer you were referring to, maybe not dealers so specifically, but in terms of what that looks like, I mean, I know just from my standpoint in the industry, we're seeing a lot of online appointment scheduling, texting customers, things like that. Is there anything specific that you all are looking at in terms of a more maybe digital experience on the customer side?
Yep. You're exactly right. So we want them to be able to use their phone to, of course, just make the online appointments, but also figure out what kind of tires might be great for their car. We want to be able to educate that consumer before they even walk into the door. We want clarity in terms of our pricing. And then when we're under the car, looking at what we can do to make sure that car is as safe as possible, we want to be able to digitally send them a camera of what we found. So it helps build that trust. They're no longer taking the word of a mechanic, but they're actually seeing what needs to get done.
Right.
We're looking at, a lot of customers today, they just want to be able to pay digitally.
Right.
Then they want to be able to just pick up the car, pick up the keys, get in their car and leave. Some don't want to interact with the customers, with the franchisees. Some want to interact very, very deeply and want to be explained what they're buying.
Right.
Again, we just want to be able to, whatever that customer wants, we want to be able to not just meet their needs, but really excel and exceed their expectations.
Yeah, makes sense. And I know digital inspections are very much gaining traction, if you will, in the industry.
They're in vogue. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Brian, another thing I'm curious about, obviously you guys have a huge franchisee base, and it's no secret that consolidation is really happening at a rapid rate in the industry right now. More private equity firms are coming in, things like that. So I'm curious how Big O Tires is working with existing members to create, succession plans for, other businesses or other franchisees that might say, hey, I'm looking to get out of the tire business, but obviously it's beneficial for Big O to keep those locations. So are you guys, is there any initiatives around that in order to, keep these locations as part of the Big O family?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. Consolidation is everywhere, and succession planning is key to us. And I'll tell you a story. Just maybe two weeks ago, I had a great opportunity to have lunch and then play golf with Dan Cathy, who's the chairman of Chick-fil-A, a wonderful franchise model. So spending about 4 or 5 hours with him, and he picked my brain for whatever I could add, and I picked his for everything that I could muster from him. He's just he has run and grown a tremendous brand and has great wisdom for me. And he mentioned a saying that I have heard from John Maxwell. John Maxwell says success is about succession. If you're focused on succession, then you're not living for the here and now, but you are looking for tomorrow, making sure that brand can exist. And that was music to my ears, and fortunately, something that we have already built in over the last maybe about 18 months into our annual business reviews. So what we do, Maddie, is our field leadership teams, they go on out and every year meet with the franchisee to review their year in review business. And we, of course, we look at the economics of, tire units and gross profit and service mix and expenses, their turnover, and we'll offer some advice. We'll do all of that as a franchisor should. But we also sit down to say, what is your long-term plan? Is it to grow? Do you want more stores? Do you just want to make your current stores profitable? Or are you going to be looking to exit the business? And how can Big O partner with you to help you reach that goal? Because end of the day, they're spending, Maddie, they are spending a lifetime building a profitable store or profitable stores. And that's going to be their retirement, right? And so we want to help them maximize that. So we want to make them profitable while they're operating it, so they can maximize the sale price when they decide to exit. But then also, we're self-interested as well, and they know that. We want to make sure that store stays in the Big O family. So it's mutually beneficial to partner with our franchisees. Again, going to the team you trust. We are truly a team out there. Yeah, so that is central to our annual business plan, is to know what our franchisees want to do. Let's help them, maximize that sale and keep that store in the network.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's really having those, I guess, frequent touch points with your franchisees and checking in on, not only the profitability, but, what do you see down the line, which
That's it.
which is so
Yeah.
important. Yeah, yeah. And what was the quote again? I love that quote.
Success is about succession.
Success is about
Success is
succession.
about succession. Yes.
I might
So I
have to
can't take
use
credit
that.
for it. That is John Maxwell. Yeah, exactly right.
I might have to use that in a column. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
great
got it.
advice. Very cool. Very cool. Well, Brian, obviously Big O is focused on growth, and bringing, you even said it, new dealers, new franchisees into the fold. So what do you feel Big O offers that really sets itself apart from other franchise groups in the industry?
Yeah, yeah. So I have been with TBC and for 14 years, and then taken on as president and COO for Big O. I don't know, maybe the last year, 18 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
My very first boss he took the complexities of running a business and tried to distill it down as simple as possible. And what he
Right.
has said is, you take care of people, you take care of your employees, you take care of the customers, and he promises the financial results will be there. And he is exactly right. You take care of those two people constituent groups, and you're going to have a very, very strong business. I think more than any other franchise that I know, we do that very well.
Mm-hmm.
I harp on my leadership team in the field to make sure we're taking care of each other, and we do that. It is a true partnership and a true teamwork. I feel as though I could lead them into battle, they could lead me into battle, and all of us would go willingly. There's not a lot of daylight between us. We stand shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Similarly, we stand shoulder to shoulder with our franchisees. I think more than any other franchise that I'm aware of. I make no bones about it that our compensation is tied in part to the profitability of our franchisees.
Mm-hmm.
So we want them to know we have skin in the game. We're in the boat with you. If you don't increase your profitability, our compensation is impacted by that. So they love it. They feel as though we're actually a team rowing in the same direction. And there's truth to that. The other way that what sets us apart of other franchisees is just the TBC Corporation. We're
Yeah.
a vertically integrated company. Again, arguably the best tire distributor is under our roof in National Tire Wholesale. We are owned by Michelin and Sumitomo Corporation. So what does that
Mm-hmm.
mean is it's a plethora of resources at our disposal. We have product availability at hand to feed our franchisees and make them profitable. And I just don't know of another franchise that can compete with that. And I think if I were to guess, I think that's why we were ranked as the number one wheel and tire franchisee of the year last year. I think when you put that's a great recipe. When you throw all of those ingredients together, the stew tastes pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, yeah, and the resources behind it, obviously for dealers, I know is something that's huge. So, yeah,
Okay.
that's great. That's great. Well, Brian, last question here for you. If a dealer is
Sure.
interested in learning more about Big O and maybe even becoming a franchisee, how would they do that?
Yeah, you bet. So if they go to bigotires.com, there is a link to anybody who is interested. I promise you that you will get a call within 48 hours to begin that process. So it just simply asks for some of your contact information, and we'll get that ball rolling. We'd be thrilled to talk to those new franchisees because, like I said, we've got those tools, we've got those resources to help you be very, very successful. And growth is our middle name. So I'd love to chat with those folks.
Awesome. Great. Well, Brian, thank you so much for your time. I know we'll be following Big O's growth. And I appreciate you sitting down to talk with us today.
Likewise, pleasure was mine. Thank you so much, Matty.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Have a good one.